Are you ready for a fun winter getaway? In no time at all, you could be hiking a sunny Sonoran Desert trail, teeing off over saguaro cacti, or getting your glow on with a prickly pear sugar scrub in Scottsdale, Arizona. And the fun doesn't stop there. With the holidays coming, Scottsdale is filled with all the magic of the season, including festive light displays, special celebrations, and more. Hotel rates start at $90 per night. Visit holidaysinscottsdale.com and unwrap your getaway today. Are you ready for a fun winter getaway? In no time at all, you could be hiking a sunny Sonoran Desert trail, teeing off over saguaro cacti, or getting your glow on with a prickly pear sugar scrub in Scottsdale, Arizona. And the fun doesn't stop there. With the holidays coming, Scottsdale is filled with all the magic of the season, including festive light displays, special celebrations, and more. Hotel rates start at $90 per night. Visit holidaysinscottsdale.com and unwrap your getaway today.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is Daily Drop number 109. Hey, everybody, I hope you're all having a great Tuesday. Well, we have a couple of articles we're going to discuss tonight, so I'm not going to go too long with the monologue, but I've been working all day, folks, on this case, and I spent over 3 hours on the phone with my source today, getting an inside look at the inner workings of this whole entire situation. And boy, oh boy, let me tell you, I am blown away. All right. It is worse than we even thought, folks. It is just absolutely, utterly, completely corrupt all the way to the top, all the way up into every level of power. All the power structures of this country are completely and utterly compromised, it seems. There are just incredibly, incredibly evil people living amongst us that are not being brought to justice for what they did to these victims. And it is unimaginable to me that this can still occur, that this is still going on. The evidence is right there for anybody to see. So why are these people still running the streets and not facing justice? The survivors of these monsters don't have that choice, right? They have to live their lives the best they can with the trauma that they've been inflicted. And all that they can do is try and make the best of things, right? And what they want is some justice. And do you blame them, folks? All right, do you blame them? Imagine it was you. Try and put yourself in that position. What if it was somebody, your daughter, your wife, your mom? That's what these girls are. These aren't, disposable pieces on a chessboard. These aren't, pawns on a chessboard. These are living, breathing human beings with hopes and dreams and aspirations. And those hopes, those dreams, and those aspirations were crushed under heel by these disgusting monsters. And people stood around for years and enabled it. The FBI ignored complaints. The police didn't, officers on the ground would take statements and they'd kick it up top. And in the FBI and in the police departments, they would be ignored. The victims would be ridiculed and attacked by high-profile people like Allen. But I kept my underwear on, Dershowitz. It's just a whole disgusting, sick, sordid ordeal. And I have to tell you, I have never been more sick to my stomach over this situation than I am today, folks. It's really come into light lately, for the last few days for me, discussing things with my source, and it needs to be exposed. This whole thing needs to be exposed and blown right out into the open. And I know that that's the way we're trending right now, right? Of course, on this podcast, like I always say, I'm not getting ahead of myself here. I'm not, I'm no social media influencer or anything like that, right? We have a relatively decent-sized platform here, and we're just doing our little part. Whatever that little part is, that's what we want to do. And if we all work together, all the content creators and all the listeners and all the people that are seeking justice, if we all work together, then these people cannot ignore us for long, folks. They cannot ignore us for long. But I don't have all the answers about how we get things moving, though. I'm not going to sit here and make pretend I'm some sort of, a movement leader or something. I don't have the answers. All that I know is that there is actual indignant, righteous anger amongst the populace when it comes to this case, and people are tired of it, and they will not let this case be swept under the rug by the government like they love to do. People will not allow it this time, and it gives me great joy almost to read some of the emails and how passionate all of you are, and how much everybody really, really, really stands by the victims in this case. And remember, folks, this isn't something that's just half-cocked, right? This isn't like one girl came out and she's accusing a high-profile person of something. We have numerous, dozens and dozens and dozens of girls and women who have been molested and abused in the same way as this man. So that's the difference between a credible accusation and somebody just making accusations, right? Because unfortunately in our society that occurs. So we have to be aware of that. But in this specific case, folks, I believe every one of these girls, I have to tell you, but all their stories are the same. And especially the girls that came forward early, come on. They didn't even know each other, and they were telling the same story over and over about what Epstein and the brains Ghislaine Maxwell were up to. And it's sickening, folks. It just sickens me that these enablers are still running around, and they're still able to live these high lives that they've always lived with not a care in the world, while these victims carry around the burden and they shoulder the weight of the trauma that was inflicted on them by these same sick people. It's unacceptable, folks, and we're not going to stand by while it happens anymore. That's it. This is the Great American Awakening. I'm convinced of it. I'm convinced that the American people have had enough. There will no longer be dog walked, and the American people are starting to focus on the things that are going on right here in our own borders that are completely and utterly screwed up. And once the American people truly see this for what it is and what it was, there is going to be hell to pay for everybody involved. Just take a look at the hammering I kept my underwear on Dershowitz is taking by both the left, the right, and everybody in between. Now, don't get me wrong, folks. There are some loyalists that'll never say anything bad about Dershowitz because he's defending Trump at this point. And those people are just as bad as the loyalists that will protect Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton at every turn. These are we have no room for it. There is no room for confirmation bias on this podcast or in this case, right? I've said it a million times, and I don't know, I've been very, very critical of Alan Dershowitz, and I told you all if Trump ever brought him on board that I would light them both up, and I have done just that. I have to reevaluate everything I've thought about this case. So many times I've had to go back and reevaluate what I've thought about this case, and that's how it's because it's such a fluid, moving situation, and that's why I'm here every single day talking to you folks about this, so that we can keep an ongoing record of what is truly going on in this case, and we can't be scared to go back and re-examine evidence and be like, oh, you know what, we might have missed this here, or we missed this there. We just have to follow the evidence however it's presented, and every now and then, the evidence might come into our possession or be in one of these articles, and we don't realize until later on when we get to a different point that, oh, there's a big connection there. Remember in the article when? And that's why I feel like the Daily Drop is such a great resource as we cover this case and we continue to dive down this rabbit hole, right? All right, I promised I wasn't going to monologue, and here we are 8 minutes later. So let me jump into these articles, okay? If you'd like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. All right, so the first article is from the New York Post. The author, Amanda Woods. It was penned on January 21st, 2020 at 4:03 p.m. And the headline, Power publicist Peggy Siegel compares coverage of her Epstein ties to the Holocaust. Isn't that a nice comparison, huh? some upwards of 7 million people died, but you being called out on your enabling, well, that's like being part of the Holocaust, huh? Give it a rest, Peggy Siegel. That's straight trash, straight garbage, and straight offensive. So make sure you guys go and check out this article in the New York Post. Always go and check out the articles so you don't miss out on pictures. And, sometimes there's other hyperlinks that you might be interested in. So always make sure you check out the articles. All right, so prominent publicist, Peggy, what is wrong with me tonight? Peggy Siegel, who got some bad press of her own over her dealings with convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein, compared the negative coverage about the pair's relationship to the Holocaust in an interview this week. Over the summer, the New York Times published a piece calling Siegel a social guarantor for the late disgraced money manager, pedophile, saying that she had been using her gatekeeping powers to usher Epstein into screenings and events. Duh, they all did. All right, from Katie Couric to George Stephanopoulos on down. They were all involved in enabling Jeffrey Epstein, even after he was convicted. All right, let's go all the way back to the early 90s when he was first called out on the carpet. All right, nobody listened then. Everybody still palled around with him, including Donald Trump. All right, so come on, guys. Let's be real. Let's look at this. We can't look at this in any kind of, anything but for what it is at this point. And what it is a bunch of rich-ass elite people who don't give a rat's ass about the rest of us. We're just pieces on a chessboard, folks. Pawns to be moved, to be sacrificed in honor of the king and the queen. But, for her to Peggy Siegel to say it's like the Holocaust because she was one of these enablers, I know that if I was from a Jewish family and our heritage was Jewish, that I would be highly offended by a statement like that. All right, there's a big difference between what you're going through of your own making and what a bunch of innocent Jewish people had to go through during the Holocaust, ma'am, and it's very offensive for you to use that as some sort of analogy. Those efforts mostly occurred after Epstein got out of the Palm Beach County Jail in 2009 after he served 13 months for soliciting prostitution from a minor. And that just bothers me too, right? Epstein was just in jail. Not prison, not the main line, just jail, his own wing, come and go as he pleases, does whatever he wants, still runs the world from inside the jail. It must be nice to be on the other end of the two-tier justice system, folks. Unfortunately, to everyone out there listening, I have some bad news. None of us are ever going to reach that pinnacle and be invited to this sort of party. And guess what? I am totally fine with that. I would never want to hang out with people like this. Imagine you show up at your boy's house to watch the ball game and a bunch of dudes are hanging out in towels talking about, oh, we're getting massages from these little girls. Yeah, that's a solid negative. All right? Talk about absolutely never happen. First of all, I've never been invited to somebody's house to get a massage, okay? You're super rich. Go to a facility and get a massage from a professional. You don't need a little girl massaging you, Mr. Epstein, Mr. I kept my undies on. All right? 1 week after the Times report, The Hollywood Reporter published a piece calling Siegel's links to Epstein a symbiotic relationship with a sex offender. Yeah, well, what else could it be? Why was she asking Jeffrey? Why was she working to reform his image? According to these articles, that's what she was doing, right? So why was she working to reform his image? What did she have to gain from that? What was Jeffrey Epstein giving her? That's the real question that should be asked. The PR maven told Vanity Fair in an interview published Monday that she was shaken by the press. Good, you should be. I'm going. This can't be happening, she recalled. This is what it'd be like to go to your own funeral. Or to be a casualty of war, she told the paper, mentioning her ancestors who died in the Holocaust. I mean, if I had been in Nazi Germany, it could not have been worse. Really? Really? You might want to go back and revisit the history of the people in Nazi Germany and living in the ghettos before they were taken on the trains and sent to places like Auschwitz. Go and learn some history of your own people. You're an embarrassment, Peggy Siegel. Are you kidding me right now with this comparison? It's utterly offensive. I thought, oh my God, I'm on the train station, she continued. I'm getting on that train and I'm going to the camps. And this is exactly what came to mind. This is the kind of political, social, horrific nightmare that came to fruition. Life has come full circle. I've finally been attacked for nothing more than being Jewish or being a woman or being at the wrong place at the wrong time. What are you even talking about right now? You act like you were a grocery store clerk who just packaged Jeffrey Epstein's groceries one day and now you're getting attacked for it. Please, you were one of the doors, you were one of the conduits for him coming back into respectability according to these articles, okay? Stop it. Stop it with the outlandish excuses, the victimhood. You are not a victim. Just like the rest of these people that claim that they're victims in this case, they are not victims. You know who are victims, folks? The girls who survived these incredibly vile people. Those are the victims. Siegel told the Post in a statement Tuesday about our Holocaust comparison. I certainly did not mean to offend anyone. Yeah, well, cat's out of the bag, lady. The comparison was an insensitive exaggeration. I honestly apologize. There is no way to compare inhumane discrimination of the most heinous evil of the Holocaust to anything. Again, I am so terribly sorry. Well, good, you should be. All right? But why'd you bring it up in the first place? Why was that your automatic mechanism to go back and say, oh, I'm a woman and it's because I'm Jewish? And that's ridiculous. It has nothing to do with that, okay? It has to do with your behavior. It has to do with your terrible decision making to be a kingmaker and bring Jeffrey Epstein back into the fold, okay? Point blank, period, end of story. Siegel has claimed that she was unaware of the extent of Epstein's crimes. What, you don't have Google, lady? Not buying it. Which allegedly include keeping a harem of abused and trafficked girls as young as 11, according to a lawsuit filed last week in the Virgin Islands against his estate. Anybody who was hanging out with him after his conviction is on the clock. All right? Your time is almost up. You got some questions to answer, my folk. All right? Because guess what? Everybody had access to the internet. Everybody watches the news. You're telling me these people that are this high crest don't talk? They don't talk. They don't rumor monger amongst each other? Stop it. Stop it. They're probably the most egregious at it. They all talk shit about each other behind their backs. We all know that. These aren't good people, folks, all right? I'm sorry. I am sorry. These are not good people. I watched a documentary last night about, I forget what it was called, something about wealth in America. And I forget the guy's name, but he went to Harvard, something something or other, I think. I'm sorry that I don't remember the name, but bear with me for a minute. And he graduated from Harvard Business School. And they said to him, so at Harvard Business School, they don't teach you to be a good person at Harvard Business School. And he broke out into laughter because that is not what they were, what their goal is. They're not good people. These high crest society people are not good people, folks. They don't care about you and I. They're disconnected. They're tone deaf. They have no idea the way the rest of us live. They don't know what it's like to have to strap on your boots every morning and go to work because you got 2 starving kids waiting for food and you don't want them to eat Tang sandwiches. They don't know what that's like. They've been gifted this great life, and what have they done with it? They've squandered it to harass and abuse and traffic young women. And girls, folks, young children. That's what they've done with all of their privilege and all of their power. This is what they choose to do with it. Because they're incredibly sick people. She told the magazine that she did not see Epstein with any underage girls, but it's very hard to tell their ages. You don't walk into a room and say, oh, right, how old are you? No, but maybe you walk into a room and then you look at your boy Jeffrey Epstein and say, hey, dude, what's with all these young girls? How old are they? I know that's what I would say. I couldn't keep my mouth shut, and I know everybody out there in this audience would do the same thing. Walk into this guy's house and he has a harem of young girls and you don't ask questions. It's not like he has any kids, so you know it's not his daughter's friends. He don't have any nephews or nieces that we know about besides the Dubin's daughter that was like his, that weird situation over there. But we know these aren't his family members, so how aren't you asking questions? I don't understand. There's no excuse for it, and I won't let you off the hook. Siegel sometimes wondered if her inattentiveness was a personal failure, she told Vanity Fair. Oh, this is a new one, a new strategy. Well, I was inattentive, so it was a personal failure on my part. So I take my responsibility. Can I be let back into society now? Very shrewd on her part. Maybe she works in PR. Part of this, I don't know whether guilt is the right word, but remorse. Just this nauseous feeling is that I didn't see it, Siegel said. How did I miss it? I mean, I'm extremely articulate. I am extremely perceptive. I'm in the perception business, and it was right in front of me, and I didn't see it. And it's very hard to believe that, but it's the truth. Yeah, it's very hard to believe that, okay? I do not believe it, in fact. And I'm sorry if you're in the perception business, you are a gigantic failure, okay? You're as much of a failure as the people who were in the security business when the towers of 9/11 came tumbling down. That's the kind of failure you are, okay? Same kind. Because your job's to be perceptive, their job's to be perceptive, neither of you did your jobs, and well, here we are. Okay, so don't tell me that your job is to be perceptive, so you should have seen it. How about you just seen it and you reported it? But no, because you didn't care. That's really the crux of it. In my opinion, obviously I have no evidence to back this up. Like I always tell you guys, when it's my opinion about one of these people, I always preface it with, this is my opinion. And again, this is my opinion. She knew everything that was going on. She asked Google. She's very articulate. She says it here. She's very perceptive. She says it here. I'm in the perception business. She says it here. So she didn't have the internet. She didn't know who Jeffrey Epstein was. BS. Sorry, she's lying. My opinion, of course. Maybe she's telling the truth, folks. Maybe she didn't know. But in my opinion, I don't believe that. Netflix, FX Network, and Annapurna Pictures reportedly dismissed Siegel, Variety first reported. The Post called Siegel's Manhattan office Tuesday and was referred to her lawyer, Bert Fields. Fields was not immediately able to return a call. Well, folks, there you have it. That is about our new friend here, Miss Siegel. So another one of Jeffrey's enablers has been called on the carpet, and she is not happy about it now that it's her time to answer questions. That's a shock, huh? These elites are never ready for that, because they never think that they'll get called to the carpet, folks. All right, so our second article is from The Gothamist, and it's the headline is Satirical Historic Landmark Plaque for Alan Dershowitz added to Jeffrey Epstein's former Upper East Side mansion. And folks, you got to go to click on the link here and go and look at it. These guys added a plaque of Alan Dershowitz's face, and we'll get to it. But anyway, it's hilarious. Controversial attorney Alan Dershowitz was back in the news last week when it was announced that he was joining Trump's legal team for his impeachment trial. Dershowitz, who previously defended O.J. Simpson, has had his career marred by his association with convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. Dershowitz has also been accused of sexually assaulting one of Epstein's victims when she was a teenager. Dershowitz denies the allegation and has countersued his accuser, calling her claims lies, disparagement, defamation, and harassment. Yeah, but what are you doing there in your underwear, Mr. Dershowitz? I know you didn't take your underwear off, sir, but I don't know if that's going to hold up in court. Now a new gorilla plaque at Epstein's former Upper East Side mansion has been put up to commemorate a message that Dershowitz does not deny receiving at the location. The unofficial plaque, which was put up last week at the 9th East 71st Street, specifically references Dershowitz's comments last year when it was revealed that he had received a massage at Epstein's mansion. I kept my underwear on during the massage, he said. I don't like massages in particular. So he kept his underwear on, folks, so it's okay that he was hanging out with Epstein and up there with all those little girls. It's no big deal because he had his undies on. The plaque was put up by the comedy duo The Good Liars, who previously put up subway advertisements mocking Rudy Giuliani and Michael Cohen. We wanted to draw attention to the fact that the President of the United States just added a person of questionable character to his legal team, said Jason Selvig, one of the members of TGL. Dershowitz not only received a massage inside the mansion of the suspected sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, but he also worked for Epstein to discredit his alleged victims. Nothing on that plaque is untrue. All facts, including the quote, "When you hire someone who represented O.J. Simpson and Jeffrey Epstein, you aren't proving you're innocent, you're proving you're rich and probably guilty." Selvig added that they have a few other pieces planned for the future, but they always try to be reactionary to the news with their work. Other projects they've been involved with include those subway turnstile fart noises, anti-SantaCon flyers, and the Mayor de Blasio's missing posters. Since the new year, they've put up more of those crazy Rudy ads, this time translated into Ukrainian, taken a very classy tour of Trump Tower, and posted some of the hashtag honest signs about Fox News on the subway. Comfort food for stupid people. And of course, who could forget the time they interrupted Trump during an event and called him boring? All right, so these guys are political jokers, right? And I really don't care about their politics, folks. Leave that for somebody else to worry about. I think it's absolutely positively hilarious that Dershowitz is being put on blast here. And the plaque itself reads, Historical Landmark, Jeffrey Epstein Mansion. On this site, Alan Dershowitz received a massage. In 2020, Dershowitz was named to President Trump's legal team. Previously, he worked for such clients as O.J. Simpson and Jeffrey Epstein. There's a little picture of him in the left-hand corner, and it says, I kept my underwear on during the massage. Folks, that's a good one. And kudos to these guys for putting Dershowitz on blast and doing it with a little bit of gusto and zeal. That's hilarious. Make sure you check them out at The Gothamist. The author of this article, I didn't mention that in the beginning, and that's my bad, was Ben Yakis. And Ben, well done, sir. Well done. All right, folks, so that's it for tonight's Daily Drop, right? I figured the two articles would make up for the No Evolution episode earlier this afternoon, but I was on the phone with my source for about 3 hours, and it ate up pretty much my whole afternoon. But it's the very important. That is very important stuff, and what I learned today absolutely, positively disgusts me, folks, all right? So I'm not going to get any further or deeper into that. There's going to be a time soon when I'll bring all of that to the forefront, but that time is not yet. So until then, we'll have the daily drops like usual, and I will obviously keep you updated on the situation from my source's point of view. All right, folks, if you'd like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. And if you would like to help support the podcast, you can do that by clicking on the GoFundMe link inside of the description box. You will also find the hyperlinks for these articles in the description box as well, so make sure you go and check those out too. All right, everybody, I will be back tomorrow with a morning update and a daily drop. All right, everybody, enjoy your night. Talk to you then.
Hey, Merrymakers! Scottsdale, Arizona is turning up the heat this holiday season in more ways than one. From November through New Year's, Scottsdale is ablaze with festive holiday light displays, spicy southwestern cuisine, and sun-filled days that are perfect for Sonoran desert hikes, championship golf, poolside lounging, alfresco dining, and more. Visit holidaysinscottsdale.com for seasonal offers, including hotel rates from $90 per night. That's holidaysinscottsdale.com. Are you ready for a fun winter getaway? In no time at all, you could be hiking a sunny Sonoran desert trail, teeing off over saguaro cacti, or getting your glow on with a prickly pear sugar scrub in Scottsdale, Arizona. And the fun doesn't stop there. With the holidays coming, Scottsdale is filled with all the magic of the season, including festive light displays, special celebrations, and more. Hotel rates start at $90 per night. Visit holidaysinscottsdale.com and unwrap your getaway today.